Hello everyone, welcome back to my System of Functional Linguistic playlist. In the last video, we discussed the modality system, which is another system after the mood system to analyze the interpersonal meaning in the text. And this one, the operational system, is the third part, the third part or the third system to analyze the interpersonal meaning in the text or clause. And this will be the last system for the personal meaning analysis, at least discussed in this playlist. As usual, let's take a look at the outline. First, we will briefly revisit the modality system to see the difference between modality system and appraisal system. And then we go down to the appraisal system itself, discuss the components, the main components of this system, including the attitude system engagement and the graduation system, before we conclude the discussion. And for your information, all of the material presented in this video are based on the book written by Martin White, The Language of Evaluation, specifically appraisal in English. Because there are quite many topics to cover in this video, without further ado, let's begin. I do hope that you will still remember our discussion of the modality system, which we have discussed or concluded in the last video. Modality shows degrees of probability or usuality, or what we call epistemic or modalization, epistemic modality, and also obligation and inclination or deontic modality or modulation. And the modality system shows how speakers and writers use language resources like modal verbs, adjuncts, complements to contribute their judgment or certainty for the modal assessment about information presented in the text or clause, or how strong an obligation of permission is expressed, which is expressed in the clause. So when we consider the examples of modality or the modal meaning, we will conclude that modality answers questions like how sure am I about regarding the information presented in the text, or how strong is the obligation or inclination as expressed in the text. Meanwhile, the appraisal system, which we discuss in this video, tend to answer questions like how do people feel about this? How do people feel? How do people judge other people's behavior? And how do people evaluate things, events, or processes? Okay, so appraisal system or appraisal expresses evaluation. That's why in the book written by Martin and White, they call appraisal the language of evaluation. Okay, so yeah, that is what we are going to discuss in this video and how they connect. Okay, how modality and operational connect. Let's take a look at this example in the white box below. The policy should be effective. Okay, the element shown here is the modal element in the box, and while effective is an appraisal because it uh, it describes how the writer or the speaker evaluates the policy, okay? How the policy is judged as, uh, as having a quality of effective. And this is how the appraisal system, the network of the appraisal system looks like, but this is just a very basic depiction of this system actually because there are types, subtypes in each types of the appraisal system. So what it is, the appraisal system is a framework or system in systemic functional linguistics to analyze evaluative language or the language resources used by the speaker or writer to evaluate an object. And this system shows the emotion, moral judgment, and appreciation of things, events, or processes. As with the modal meaning or modality, appraisal can also be expressed through predicators, complements, adjuncts, and very specific the epithets in a nominal group. If you forget what epithets means, you can check my video about rank scale where I discussed the epithets as the modifier of a nominal group. And as you can see in the figure here, there are three main components of this system, including attitude, engagement, and graduation. So we will look at these components one by one. So we begin with the attitude, which is the part of the appraisal system that expresses evaluation of feelings, behaviors, and things. Okay, so attitude has three subtypes, including affect, judgment, and appreciation. Okay, so affect answers questions like how do people feel? Yeah, people here can be considered as the conscious participants if we talk about the transitivity system. So people are conscious participants. Okay. Let's take a look at these examples here. The students were happy with the lesson. I was happy with the lesson. Okay. So this is an example of affect. Affect, yes. The word happy in both clauses express the emotion, okay, or the feelings of here, the students and the I. Okay. And if you look at the sign here, there is a polarity in the attitude, okay, positive and negative. We know that happy is a positive affect or positive emotion. Then judgment. So the term judgment refers to how do people evaluate or judge people, other people. Hmm. Like he is honest. This is a judgment about he, and it is uh, it also applies uh, in this clause where the adjective honest um, function as the epithets. Mm. He is an honest man, or he is not an honest man. As you can see here, uh, the first two examples are positive judgment, while second one, the third one, uh, is negative judgment. But the term honest is not only used to express judgment but also appreciation, which is the evaluation of things or events or non-conscious participants. So basically, they are things other than people. Like it was an honest confession. So uh, the word honest here is used to evaluate the confession, which is different from the use of the same word in this clause. This is the judgment of people. This is an expression of judgment. Okay, so this is about people, and this is about things, events, uh, anything other than people. So we call it appreciation, which also has the polarity whether positive or negative. And if you look at the example here, the negative polarity is not always represented or expressed by using a negator, but also uh, any words that any words that have negative meaning. Okay. So like the approach was effective, but this one the approach was ineffective, which is a negative appreciation towards the approach. The approach confessions are non-human or non-conscious participants in terms of the transitivity system. Okay, so basically you should be able to see the difference between judgment and appreciation and effect. Okay, but we will look at these subtypes of attitude individually. So now, for example, the attitude affect. Okay? So affect expresses emotional states or feelings, including happiness, sadness, fear, anger, anxiety, satisfactions, and so on and so forth. Martin and White uh, are the experts who expand the interpersonal meaning by formulating this system. Okay? So they categorize affects into four subtypes, including happiness, security, satisfactions, and realism. I think happiness or unhappiness, security or insecurity, satisfaction or dissatisfactions, they are self-explanatory, but realist, and irrealist may need a brief explanation. So, realist refers to emotions connected to the actual experienced events, meanwhile, realist refers to emotions connected to imagined or feared or hoped for events. Okay, hopeful events. So realist means that it really happens. Meanwhile, the realist, uh, it is not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily happen, but it is just imagined or feared. Alright. In terms of realization, affect can appear at the group level as adjectives, verbs, nouns, and adverbs. Okay, let's take a look here at examples. Some students showed anxiety before the exam. This is a negative affect, and it relates to insecurity, anxiety, because it is an emotions about feeling insecure. Okay, for example, they fear of fail in the exam. And the second one, they were happy during the exam. Uh, this is this can be understood intuitively. Happy, anxiety, and fear they have polarities. Okay, anxiety is a negative emotion. Happy is a positive emotions. Okay, and this one they were happy during the program. The word happy reflects the positive effect, happiness and realism. Okay? So the students with anxiety, they were happy, they are associated with the realist effect, which means that the, the anxiety and happy are not imagined but actual experienced events. Meanwhile, uh, there is a grammatical error here. It is, no, if his students feared that they might fail the exam, this is a negative effect in terms of insecurity and irrealism. Why this is irrealism? Because they feared of uh, they feared of an imagined event, okay? The exam that they will fail uh, the exam, something which is not necessarily really happens. Okay, so affect is the way we express our feelings or emotions. So it is about what we feel, our emotional states. Okay, and it is different from the judgment and what appreciation. Okay, if affect is about our feeling or emotion, judgment is about the evaluation of human behavior, character, or ethics. So it answers questions like, is the person capable, is the person honest, and is the person ethical? So these are our judgments. Okay, and there are two subtypes of judgment, including social esteem and social sanction. So social esteem is about the judgment of people everyday behavior, while social sanctions uh, is about evaluation of our moral evaluation of people. So the basis of the evaluation is often the norms or values held in a society or in a culture, and they are realized through adjectives, verbs, and nouns. When we take a look at the social esteem, we can see that uh, social esteem includes a normality, capacity, and tenacity. So normality is about how usual someone is. This usuality, okay, like he is strange. Uh, this is a negative judgment, Okay, because strange means unusual. Okay, so but this is not related to moral evaluation. So just uh, yeah our evaluation about someone or a group of people. Okay, but not necessarily moral. The capacity relates to our evaluation of how capable someone is. Like this one, he is a skilled doctor. Okay, he is a doctor, but not only a doctor, but he is also a skilled doctor. Okay, so the word skilled here is a positive judgment in terms of capacity. And tenacity is about how determined or reliable someone is. And for example, he is not lazy, which is a positive judgment in terms of tenacity. So tenacity is about you can you can consider it like the persistence, the reliability, okay, of people or someone. So these are types of social schemes, judgment, and then the social sanctions is different from the social esteem because social sanction is our evaluation of people based on the ethics or moral values held in the community. And it consists of veracity, which shows how truthful someone is, like he is honest, is a positive judgment of veracity, that he can be trusted. Okay? And propriety, which shows how ethical someone is, okay? Like he is a cheater or a student cheated on the test, and this verbal group cheated is a negative judgment of propriety. Cheated is a negative judgment because it violates the moral values, for example, academic integrity as the basis of the moral evaluation in an academic context, for example. But of course, cheating is a negative attitude of people, and we often have negative judgment or negative attitude in terms of judgment or for cheaters. Okay? So yeah, these are judgments. So you can see the difference between judgment and affect. Affect is about what we feel, about our emotions, or about the emotions or the emotional states of the participants. So affect is not only about the writer or the speaker's emotions, but also the emotions of mm, the human participants in the text. The judgment also is is not confined to our judgment, but also the judgment of other people to how other people in the text, okay, judge other people. Okay? And then appreciation. Appreciation is almost like the judgment, but the judgment is an evaluation of people. And appreciation is our attitude towards things, okay? How we value things. Like written here, appreciation evaluates things, objects, processes, phenomena, and so on. Not feeling, because feelings are related to affect, not people, because people are associated with the judgment. And appreciation relies through adjectives, nouns, verbs, and adverbs. Okay? There are three subtypes of appreciation. The first one is reaction. Reactions is the impact or the affective effect of the things to us. The first one is the impact. The impact here refers to our expressions, whether the things grabs our attention. Okay, like the lesson is exciting. Here, exciting is a positive appreciation of impact. Okay, meanwhile, the quality refers to how the effective effect of the things toward us or towards other participants in the text, whether or not it is, for example, pleasing. Okay? So, for example, we say that the essay was inspiring, which means that we are pleased when we read the essay. And in this example, the word inspiring is a positive appreciation of quality of the things. So these are what we how we react, or how someone or a group of people react to an event or things. And then composition is our evaluation about the organization of the things. Okay, and it consists of two two types, including balance. Balance is regarding the structure, whether it is well structured. I mean the things. For example, here they say is coherent. Here, coherent is a positive appreciation of balance. You know that the coherent reflects uh, a meaning, that is, the text is, or the essay is well organized. Okay, the elements in the essays are well organized or coherent to build the essay as a whole and not the fragments. And then the complexity, uh, which refers to whether it is easy or hard to follow. Okay, whether it is, for example, if the theme is an essay, whether it is easy or difficult to read or to understand. Okay, because the complexity and also the balance affect our attitude towards the things. We uh, typically prefer things which are easy, or which are easy to to comprehend, to follow. Okay? If that is an instruction, and then we often prefer an instruction that is easy to follow. The example I present here is this: the model is clearly presented. Okay? Here the adverb clearly is a positive appreciation of complexity. And the last one is valuation. It's about the value or the worth of the things. Okay, like the approach is effective. The word effective here, the adjective effective here, is a positive appreciation of evaluation. The book is expensive. Again, it is a valuation. Okay, the book is easy to read. It's a complexity. Okay, the book is well written. It's a balance. Okay, the book is so inspiring. That is a quality. Okay, the book is interesting is an impact. Okay, okay, this is appreciation. Okay, okay. So before we continue the engagement, let's make a tentative conclusion here. So, affect, in terms of attitude, affect is about how we express our feelings, emotions about things, but it focuses on us or on the participants, what the participants feel. Okay? But while the judgment is about how we value or how we evaluate people, uh, including the normality, their capacity, their tenacity, their veracity, and their ethical or their propriety. Okay? But while attitude is about our value or our evaluation of uh, non-human objects, okay, like things, objects, processes, phenomena, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we appreciate in terms of reactions, compositions, and valuation. Alright, now we move to the second component of the appraisal system, that is the engagement. And as the term suggests, engagement deals with how speakers or writers position their voice in relation to other voices, opinions, and alternative points of view. There are two main subsystems in this system in engagement. The first one is Monoglossia, and the second one is Heteroglossia. We will see each of these systems in the next slides, but what I can tell you here that monoglossia is where the clause or text presents an information as an unquestioned fact with no acknowledgement of other voices. This is where a text or a clause doesn't include other voices from other sources or doesn't invoke other voices or invite other voices or opinions. Then while the heteroglossia is just the contrary, it is where the clause or text recognizes or invokes other voices or viewpoints. And we will look at heteroglossia in more detail because it is further divided into two main groups, including dialogic contraction and dialogic expansion. Engagement, in terms of monoglossia, is a single-voiced discourse where a clause of text presents information as an unquestioned fact without acknowledging, involving, or inviting other voices. So monoglossia is where a text does not include other voices. For example, it doesn't mm, cite other sources or text from other sources. It views language as a single, unified, and authoritative system and lacks a dialogue. Or dialogue here means the interaction between or the engagement between the writer or the speaker with the audience or the other speakers or writers around. Okay. For example, here in the class is just students benefit from feedback, which is a monoglossia, which doesn't involve or invoke or invite the voices. Meanwhile, the clause or this is actually a complex clause. I think students benefit from feedback. It is a monoglossia. Why? Because The clause I think here signals the content of the thing, uh, which is not unquestionable. I think means that it implies that uh, there are other views, okay, about the benefits of feedback, uh, whether students benefit or not from feedback. Okay, so it invokes a dialogue, but heteroglossia can be realized into different ways or two different ways. But in terms of monoglossia, just remember that monoglossia is like, for example, a writer speaks just to express his pure idea, as if the ideas are unquestionable. Okay, if or he does not invoke or invite other views. He doesn't acknowledge that other views exist. Okay. Alright, now we move to the heteroglossia. Okay. We can see here in the image the subsystems of heteroglossia. There is a dialogic contraction and dialogic expansion. And then dialogic contractions is divided into disclaim and proclaim, and so on and so forth. You can see here. And these are actually different ways in which speakers or writers engage with the audience and or with other speakers or writers in the text. Alright, we begin with the dialogic constructions, which is a type of engagement, heteroglossic engagement. Okay, so dialogic construction closes down alternative voices. It limits or challenges other positions, views, or claims. Okay, so well, the speaker or the writer, let's just use the writer here. Okay, the writer engage with other voices, but in the engagement, he closes down, he press the alternative voices down, or limits or challenge the other voices or positions or claims. Okay, and there are two ways to do this. The first one is by disclaiming. Okay, a disclaim rejects or replaces other viewpoints either by denial, okay, or counter or concessions. Okay, for example, we do not think students ignore feedback. This is an example of a denial. This is a type of engagement, but a disclaimer. Okay, so in this clause, what this clause expresses is this, that we acknowledge the claims that students ignore feedback, but in the engagement we disclaim it, okay, or we deny it. Okay? So this clause denies the claim that students ignore feedback, and in this example, the denial uh, is expressed through negations like no, okay, uh, never, or no. Okay, and while the counter, just think about the counter argument when we write an argumentative essay, for example. The example here, although many argue that academic writing was difficult, and students completed it well. Okay? So in this clause, the writer acknowledge the claims that academic writing was difficult, but in the engagement, the writer encounters it again by using although here. There are different text connectives can be used like but, however, although, yet, and so on and so forth. Okay, that is the disclaim. Okay, now the proclaim. Uh, it strengthens the speaker's or writer's voices and suppresses the alternative voices. Okay, it can be achieved by signaling shared agreement or concur, emphasizing the authoritative voice or pronouns, or by citing external voices as authoritative, support, or endorse. So proclaiming is like when we cite experts, we cite other writers, for example, to support our voice. Alright, and by doing so, we uh, strengthen our voice and suppress the alternative voice, which perhaps contradicts to ours. For example, of concur here is here the use of course in this clause. Of course, feedback improves learning. The use of course here signals the agreement with the claim that feedback improves learning. Imagine that this claim comes from other voices. Okay, so by using of course feedback improves learning, or by agreeing with uh, this claim, the writer strengthens his voice or his position of claim. The second one is the example of pronouns. This clearly demonstrates the feedback effectiveness. Here, the adverb clearly emphasizes the claim feedback is effective. Okay, so by doing this, the writer, strengthens the claims, and clearly the adverb clearly here uh, suppresses the alternative voice or alternative claim. For example, uh, the claim that feedback is ineffective. Okay, so that is a pronouns. The example of pronouns, and this one is uh, is prominent in academic writing. Okay, endorsement. Okay, right. Studies reported that feedback helps students revise. Okay, this is an endorsement or endorse. Okay, here the word the noun group or the nominal group studies is used to support the claim that feedback helps students revise. Okay, so studies here is a generalized participant referring to other voices. Okay, or the voice from the other text or other textual sources. Alright, that those are the dialogic constructions. So we have seen that the disclaim, the dialogic construction consists of disclaim and proclaim. We have seen the denial and counter and concur. Concur shows the agreement with other voices. Pronouns is when the writer emphasizes or strengthens his mm, claims of voice to suppress the other voices or alternative claims, and endorse shows that how the writer support his claims by citing or by mentioning other voices or voices from other sources. And now, in terms of dialogic expansions, we have entertained. Yeah, we have entertained. Okay, I want to see entertained. Okay, dialogic expansion consists of entertainment attribute. Alright, so uh, unlike the dialogic contractions, which closes down the space for other forces, the dialogic expansions opens up space for other forces, views, positions of claims. Okay? So the first type of the dialogic expansions is called entertain, which presents possible views and invites other views, typically by using model expressions to signal possibility, like this example. Feedback may improve students' writing motivation. Uh, in this in this example, the modal verb may shows that uh, the the writer acknowledges the possibility of other views. Okay. For example, others may say that feedback may not improve students' writing motivation. So here, the modal verb may is used to show uh, an engagement with other possible views. And also this one, it seems to us that the teachers struggle to provide feedback. Here, the verb seems show the possibility that in fact the teacher might not struggle at all. So it seems to us express uh, express the writer or yeah the writer's view or voice about what they see in the field, for example. But the use of seems here reflects that they are aware of the possibility that the teacher might not struggle, okay, as it seems. So both examples show how the writers acknowledged other views, other possible views, okay, and invite other views, okay. All right, and now the attribute or attributions. This is very typical in academic writing. Okay, in reading essay, academic essays, we will find these kinds of text. So attribute brings other voices into the text. The speaker or the writer may naturally report them or acknowledge or show doubt or detachment from them. Okay. So what does the neutrally report means that okay, neutrally report means that okay, the writer just acknowledge the other voices, but it doesn't necessarily support the voice because when other voice is used to support the writer claims or position or voice, it is an endorsement. Okay, it is an endorsement. When we just or when the writer just cite the the source, the other voices uh, without intending to support uh, his or her claims. So it is just an acknowledgement. Okay, like this. Highland argues that it supports learning. Okay, this is an acknowledgement. Okay, it just reports what Highland says. Okay, and similar to this is this one feedback supports learning. Highlands. Okay, but this one is different. They claim that feedback improves writing, so it implies that when this is used, the writer implies that he detaches from the claim. Okay, so according to Martin and White, uh, the verb claim is often used okay, to mention other voice, other claim, but at the same time to take distance from the claim, which means that yes, they say that, but we are not responsible of what they say, just like that. So we, or the writer, the speaker, takes the distance between uh, his claim or her claim with the claims coming from other sources. Okay, so that is engagement. Okay, so engagement, we can conclude that engagement is about how the writer or the speaker engage with other voices. Okay, there are different ways to engage with them, depending on the purpose. Okay, when we engage, whether we just acknowledge the other possible views or voices, or we want to strengthen our voice, at the same time we suppress other alternative voice. Again, we can encounter other voice, we can agree with other voice, or we can invite other voice. For example, we want the reader to think about other possibilities by using the model verb may, for example, or it seems, like, just like the example I have given to you previously. So there are different ways to engage with other voices, okay, and yeah, but monoglossia lacks engagement, okay, text that lacks engagement, monoglossia. Engagement is rich in heteroglossic, okay, text. And now the last component in the appraisal system is graduation. So graduation shows how speakers or writers adjust the strength and scope of an evaluation. And there are two subtypes of graduations, and the first one is the force, and the second one is the focus. So what does this component or subsystem shows us? Think of a claim or an argument in writing or in debating. In writing an argumentative essay or in debating, in a debate, we can persuade, we can either persuade or damage our audience feelings by our claims. So by using graduation, we can save our face or the face of our counterpart, okay, our audience. First one is the graduation of force. So force scales meanings by degree or amount, and it has two dimensions. The first one is intensification or the intensity, using the words like very, slightly, strongly, somewhat. And the second one is the quantification, uh, which is used to scale the meaning by amount. For example, by using quantifiers like some, many, you, all, and so on and so forth. Okay? Like the first example here, it was strongly recommended that feedback be provided. Okay, this is a high intensity. The verb strongly intensifies the recommendation. Okay, the recommendation, the recommended feedback is be provided. So we can scale up, we can strengthen or we can intensify our claim by using uh, language, okay, like for example here, strong. Or we can lower the intensity, we can weaken the claim, for example, to maintain the solidarity uh, between us, okay, between the writer and the reader, for example, because in argumentation, for example, we need to acknowledge that not all people hold the same view as we do. Okay, so to maintain the solidarity between us, we can use aggregation of force. Okay, we select particular words to uh, increase or lower the intensity, the strength of our claims. Okay, and we can also uh, use quantifiers to uh, to increase and or to lower the force. For example, here all students might have cheated using an I is a high quantity. Here the quantifier all generalizes the claim. Imagine that someone says to you that all you said are liar are lies. For example, how do you feel? How will you feel when someone says that everything that you say are, are lies? Okay, but the feeling may be different when the word all is replaced by every um, uh, by which we can load a quantity. Okay, for example here, a few students might have cheated using I. The quantifier review here limits the claim, so it does not generalize because when we generalize our claim, uh, we imply the strength of our claims. So it also applies when we limit our claim. We don't want to generalize our claim, so we just limit to a particular particular number of in terms of quantity. So that is the graduation of force. The force or the strength of our claim can be configured by uh, using intensification and quantification. Okay, I hope you understand it. And now the graduation of focus is still the same, okay? But the focus here related to the boundaries of a category. Okay, we can sharpen or we can soften our uh, claim on the boundary of a category. Okay, like here, example, some students might have cheated. The word cheated is a loaded word, and the focus is sharp. Uh, okay, how to understand this? Okay, we need to look at the second example. Okay, some students might have committed academic misconduct, and here academic misconduct is a blurred focus. Alright, the word cheated here is sharp focus because not all academic misconduct is cheating. Okay, so when you use academic misconduct, you soften the boundaries. Okay? You blur the boundaries of a category. Okay, so instead of using cheating, instead of saying that some students cheat on the exam, you don't, for example, you don't want to hurt your audience, so you just say some students may have committed academic misconduct. Okay, So that is the graduation of focus. So you can the example is like mm, instead of saying that you or for example you say that she did something wrong. Okay, did something wrong is a very broad category. Okay? So it blew the focus. You don't specify or you don't focus on what what's wrong that she did. Okay, but when you say that she lied to me, you sharpen the focus. Okay? You sharpen the focus, and that can yeah that can no, I mean, and that is the way you can adjust your adjust the boundaries of a category. Okay, so think about the broad category and the specific item in the category. Academic misconduct, for example, is a broad category, and cheating is one of the items in the academic misconduct. So that is our choice whether we want to uh, increase the intensity, or if we want to low the intensity. We can also increase the quantity or lower the quantity. Okay? We can uh, sharpen the focus, or we can lower the focus. All we do is to mm, adjust the or yeah adjust the scale, the strength of, for example, our evaluation. Okay. All right. Now the conclusions. Okay. So we can conclude that appraisal systems help us understand how speakers and writers express evaluation in the text, organizing evaluation into attitude, engagement, and graduation. For researchers, appraisal system can be used to study interpersonal meaning or analyze texts of different genres. But specifically, when we analyze academic genres like argumentative essays or comments, just think about comment sections. How, because in the comment sections, people usually express their evaluation of, for example, a product or a video, for example. So we can analyze, researchers can analyze their evaluation by using the system. But the system is also useful for language teachers. They can use the system to teach meta language. If you forget what meta language is the language we use to talk about language. Okay, to help students understand how the interpersonal meaning in the text is made. Alright, and for all of us, this system is very useful because we can use the system to configure our evaluative meaning when we speak or write. Especially when we write an academic writing, we can use the knowledge we learn in the appraisal system to, to express our evaluation, our attitude, yeah, our appreciation, our judgment. Okay, we can also uh, engage with other voices. Okay, to suppress alternative voices, to strengthen our own, and then we can also scale up and down the force and the focus of our evaluation. Okay, so I think that's all. I know it's a long video. If you have questions, if you have corrections, You can let me know in the comment sections. Thank you for watching, and this will be the end of the discussions of interpersonal meaning. Hopefully I will discuss about the textual meaning, the systems to analyze the textual meaning in the future video. Alright, see you in the next video. Bye.